According to StreamYard, let me bring the box down here. It's easier to talk to you guys and look at my camera. According to StreamYard, I am live. Dun, 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 dun. Let me get rid of my anchor voice. Any of y'all seen Anchorman? Remember the first time I watched Anchorman, I was like, this morning. One of the funniest movies ever made. Dun, 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 dun. You know what time it is. AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.
I'm going back and forth with KP on Twitter. Oh, shout out the boss himself, joining me on here on the YouTube street. Come on. You know who I be, Boss Claus. What's going on, my brother? The Human Torch was denied a bank loan. I don't know what that means, Adam Armbrecht. But okay. Adam Armbrecht. Kabar. I'm sorry. It ain't Kubar, right? It's Kabar. Dobbins. You sound like you play left outside linebacker. Fish, was going on? Yeah, he threw me off. Oh, my bad, Adam. Yo, my fault. I'm sorry. Wow. Yo, Scotch down my belly. Yo, Anchorman is crazy. My fault, Adam. Adam is the man. Adam is the man. Nah, the Human Torch was denied a bank loan today. Is it going to be a Flee AllBall Nick free live? It looks like it. It also looks like AllBall will be joining us from an unspecified location at the moment. It's some park in Queens. One of these parks they play in the tournament in Fish. He'll be joining us soon for a second. Show's going on. Nostalgic was going on. Nostalgic always breathing life. Breathing life into me, man. Anytime I see Fabian Star, man. Is Nostalgic? Are you Jamaican? Fabian Star. Are you Jamaican? Is that racist? I don't know. I don't know what's racist anymore. I say everything is racist. I said it at work yesterday. Everybody was like, that's not racist. I'm like, who cares? It is now. I mean, not at work, at a different place of business. No, FBA. Uh-oh. Salute to you, my brother. I ain't playing with that. And he put the USA up. Salute to Nostalgic. As long as AllBall not hooping that disabled J, we. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta talk to AllBall about his wrist, man. And like, what was that, Fish? I did notice that. I'm sure you commented. I saw a picture somewhere. Kobe's the GOAT. Kobe's the GOAT. That is the first thing, right? I seen AI talking about it. Let me go to my YouTube history real quick. Go to my YouTube history because I was watching the channel. I'll show this channel love. I'll put them in the description later. Oh. YouTube description. I forgot the name of their channel. I was just talking to AllBall earlier. Said, imagine what it takes for someone Because I get it, right? I'm on YouTube all day. Everybody is. I'm addicted to YouTube. YouTube got me in a stranglehold. I shouldn't tell my son that, but it does. June, what's going on, man? We did just miss his birthday, right? What does it take for you to not just subscribe, like, what does it take? Because all the content is strolling, and everybody just can't come out of pocket and just support everybody the way they want to. It takes a lot for anyone to just come out of pocket and be like, oh, here you go. That's why even the comments, stuff like this, I appreciate it, because if not, I'll be talking to myself, which I have on here, by the way. That was lonely. That was mad lonely. I hated Kobe, but now I have a lot of respect for him. He actually had to work harder than MJ. MJ had a lot of God-given talent. Yo, nostalgic. That's how I feel about Kobe. He's the guy that earned my respect. Uh-oh. Hello, hijo. That means I gotta call my mom, y'all. I'm terrible at calling people. Put myself on Front Street. That's my mama on there. Hola, hijo. She'll tell me, is this the only way I can get in contact with you? Is going on your live? She's Dominican mom, man. I'll be like, I'm sorry, mom. And then I gotta let her verbally kick my ass for a couple minutes. Mom, I'm sorry, I'm cursing. But yeah, just like I was going back to the YouTube to earn somebody to pay for your merchandise and pay to support you. It's the same thing with Kobe, how Kobe earned my respect. I don't even know if I ever bought a pair of Kobe's. I don't think I ever seen Kobe play in person. I don't think I've seen him play in person, but the way he earned his respect was different than everyone else. He had the Nike promo run, the Adidas run, the Michael Jordan comparisons. He had all the promotion in the world to be just like everybody else. What Jordan started. Everything changed after that. And Kobe just, AI gets into this conversation here where he basically says, this is GOAT debate media. And Allen Iverson wants to know, why are people offended when you say Kobe's the GOAT? Like, it's almost like he was talking to me. But I don't get offended. Someone like Flee might get offended, and he holds it back. But I just love what he said here, because the same thing that AI, how he speaks to it, everybody that played ball just sounds the same way. Larry Bird was the first person I remember saying that. Was it 14 years ago, 15 years ago? He was on Bill Simmons' show, or Bill Simmons sat down with him. He's like, who's better, Kobe or LeBron? He's like, man, if I want to win, I'll play with Kobe. If I want to have fun, I'll play with LeBron. Which, imagine if Dwight Howard made that same statement. I couldn't even keep a straight face. I couldn't even keep a straight face. My mom is in the comments. I gotta relax. And she threw me a 20 sack. What? Thank you, mama. I'm gonna move right along. You ain't getting me, YouTube. Everybody thank mama Perspective for throwing up the 20 dub. Imagine this was back. Mom, close your ears. She knows about me though, but close your ears and your eyes. Imagine we was 17, 16, and your mom gave you $20. You know where you're going with that 20. You ain't gotta go to your man with rolled up nickels anymore. You can go handle your business with your people and hit the cipher up. Very complete. You could roll loud all you want to, is all I'm gonna say. You leaving, mom? I hope you didn't hear that. That 20 was for cutting the grass. Yeah, cutting the grass, all right. It was rolling the grass over here. That's what we were doing. You talking about fish? Mom, get off the YouTube, mom. Please. The kids are not around. She said that is horrible. It's true. It's true, mom. I'm sorry. I admitted it to you years later, though. Stop lying, Mom. And you know who used to roll. That's when I was out of the house. I'm gonna stop. My mother will call me right now and curse me out while I'm on YouTube. You don't want to hear Mama perspective on live on YouTube. Raymond, why are you telling them that? I ain't cut no grass, George. Not in New York City. Yeah, but back to Kobe though. He earned our respect, and this is AI on what's the GOAT podcast? Oh, GOAT Debate Media. Mom, stay on. Is Iverson? Well, GOAT Debate Media was talking about Allen Iverson, and he was on the Knuckleheads podcast, and he was talking about just the GOATs in general and why he has them where he has them.
With that being said,
he showed up to the joint, and I just remember the reaction from everybody else. All the other 74, you know what I mean? All the other 74. And I remember the reaction from them. You know what I mean? Like, I was looking at it like, yo, this man is the man. For real.
So he's talking about Jordan here at the top 75 players of all time, which is crazy. If you AI, you off the block, and that's crazy to say, man. If you off any block, you say I'm one of the best 75 players of all time. And he's talking about how all of them, D Wade said the same thing when Michael Jordan walked in. It's a different aura, man.
Real one. I mean, I hear all the comparisons and all that. You know what I mean? And I have to be biased. I have to be, because he made me want to be me.
Yeah.
But then I get a chance to, when you want to debate about it, I get to talk about his accolades. I get to talk about what he's done, like and be confident.
It's hard to be an HR leader.
How dare you? Yo, YouTube. I might have to get the YouTube unlimited thing. They just decided I'm gonna put a commercial right here. Let me bookmark that.
My feelings, you know what I mean? And not to get into it, but I love LeBron as a basketball player, as everything that he did for basketball. I mean, the man he is off the basketball court, all the things that he accomplished.
We all do. If you don't, you a hater.
You know what I mean? He's it. You know what I mean? And they always putting them together. Like, why it can't be like LeBron is on Mount Rushmore.
Facts.
That's enough.
That's,
you know what I mean? Like,
by saying that Mike is better than him.
Yeah, it's not no disrespect, because you're better than who I am and was as a basketball player. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, for me, just Kobe was just a certified maniac killer.
When everybody be doing this whole GOAT, best ever, I feel like they be tripping when it come to Kobe. Cause I feel like if we being honest, I don't know how you want to separate it or position it, but to me, in my opinion, Mike and Kobe, they up at the top in some other little separate room, and they still, like, all of the greatest and all of that is still amongst them, but they get to go sidebar over here and talk about something else that don't nobody else know. Do you agree with me on that? Do you agree with me on that? Like, I'm just the way and I'm not talking about, like, everybody got their stats and everything, right? But we all know, as real hoopers that lined it up at the highest level when we went against them people, we know the difference of how people were revered and talked about and responded to when they show up and they are who they are. And in my opinion, I didn't play against all three of them. I scored on all three of them. They didn't score on me.
Yeah.
And it ain't them two. Kobe and Mike is something completely, totally fucking different, bro. I promise. And
that's how they all sound. Like, I've heard Jim Jackson go crazy on Nick Wright. He went bananas on Nick Wright. Nick Wright was just kept going LeBron, and it was like, Jim Jackson, by the way, is one of my first favorite players ever because he kind of resembled my father. I always tell that story or just phrase it that way. But he was up there getting aggravated because Nick Wright. I don't think Nick Wright said anything wrong. I think that the argument just brings out the tribalism in us, and we got to choose a side, especially when we're talking about the best. You know, it gets exhausting if you keep having it every day, the same conversation. That's why with us, I enjoy talking to Flea and AllBall because we have the histrionics. Did I use that correctly? I hope Flea was listening. Histrionics, just the dramatics, it's about having a conversation. The barbershop talk is cool. And the balance too, try to deep dive into the stats and with Kobe, it always felt like at first they were forcing it. That's how I felt from the beginning because it was the Michael Jordan thing mixed with Grant Hill, clean cut, right? They've coming off fresh. Jordan was clean cut for the most part. They tried throwing the gambling thing out there for him, which is true. They hid the fact that he was a jerk. And with Kobe, not that they were hiding it, but it was he was the beginning of the internet, played in that era, emerged alongside Allen Iverson, who just spoke there. Iverson was a way bigger star than Kobe for us. He impacted everything. Your girl knew who Iverson was. She might have known who Kobe was. She eventually did know who Kobe was in the next decade. So the marketing and stuff like that, the charisma, the superstardom, the natural superstardom has a factor in that. And also a part of Kobe's slower emergence, because by year 3, he was crazy, was the fact that he came off the bench. He was 17 years old. He wasn't going to be Kevin Garnett and these guys, Moses Malone at 17, 18, it was going to be a lot harder for him to pick up the game. So Jordan came in at 22 years old, 21 years old. Magic was 20. These guys were all in their 20s. AI was 19, 20. Penny was 19, 20. Shout out to my guy, Rob. Rob was the first person to ever point that out to me when it was Kobe and Shaq and they were doing their thing in the Lakers. And Rob was like, oh, listen, man, you could like Penny all you want, but Penny came in way more of a grown man than Kobe. And by the way, Kobe was a true 17-year-old, unlike Kevin Garnett and LeBron James. If I'm not mistaken, LeBron was definitely left back. No disrespect to you, Bron. Has nothing to do with the GOAT conversation, but it does have to do with the fact, has to do with Kobe's slow rollout as a star for us, like undeniable. After they won the first chip, it was still being denied for a lot of us. It was argued. But after they beat the Sixers, after they three-peated, for me, that meant nothing to me. I always told the same thing when he was in Philly, the All-Star game, and they were booing him, and he still was going bananas. You got people booing you. They're paying to boo you. And he looks like he's crying on the bench. He cried there. He was crying really on the bench. You heard him. He's in Philly. They didn't cheer him. That's crazy. He came back home and put on a show. And the same year he did that around the back. He caught when Robert Roy throws an outlet pass and Kobe catches it. 3/4 court, goes around the back. That's my favorite Kobe highlight. The around the back 360 on the floor and yamming it in Denver. That's my favorite Kobe highlight because I saw it in real time and we couldn't believe it. It was crazy. So those things won us over, and just the fact that he's the only one that cares. Say what you want about AI, but AI is telling you he's a real killer. Kobe's a real killer. Yeah, because not that AI wasn't a killer, but he knows he didn't go to practice. He always tells that. That's what I like about AI. He's very honest. He's very honest. And then depending on his mood or what he had to drink for the day, he starts contradicting himself. Because I've heard him say LeBron is the best ever. I've heard him say that LeBron is an animal. I guess it might have been after a game that LeBron went crazy on or something like that, or maybe Rich Paul got in his ear. I don't know, but I've heard him say LeBron is the GOAT, and I still think it's MJ and LeBron. But Kobe, why do we get offended off of it, or someone gets offended off of it? Because I just seen Gilbert Arenas and on his crew, they were talking about the difference between talent and skill. I broke down one time. Shout out to Bernardo from Brazil, man. He was on there one time, and he understood what I said. I'm glad somebody understood what I said in real time. When you look at, let's say, Akeem Olajuwon at his peak and Tim Duncan at his peak, you know, both of them probably skill-wise is the best you can get, right? Like either or, give me one of those. But there's a different level of talent that puts Akeem at his peak over Tim Duncan. Akeem can do this, the triple pump fakes, triple over your left, up and unders. He can do all that. Tim Duncan wasn't as agile. That natural God-given talent, we have to celebrate it like that when it's like a Michael Jordan who's just, in my opinion, superior to Kobe physically, and then they match it with the skills. It's different. It was nothing Kobe could do to be as dominant as Shaq, Michael Jordan, LeBron, right? There was nothing he could do about it, and he knew it because that's why he was so mad about at Shaq, right? Bro, if I was you, nobody would talk about Jordan, LeBron, nobody ever in basketball history. That's how. Can you imagine what Kobe felt looking at Shaq every time he walked into practice late, hanging out at the club? Kobe knew if I had any one of you guys that were more Vince Carter, T-Mac, all these guys to me were more Lamar Odom. Imagine, like, just think about any other player who's physically more gifted than Kobe Bryant. Kobe's looking at them like, you don't know what you're doing, man. You don't know what you're doing. That's why AI loves him so much, and that's why Kobe earns my respect on a daily basis more and more and more and more. But I'll never consider him the GOAT of basketball. But I think he's gonna have to be the GOAT of how to teach basketball, what it is to be a basketball player. Because no, I'm not supposed to be the best, and I'm still going out here killing the best, no matter what it is. I don't care what's up against me. I'm showing up every day. And clearly he was talented enough for his fans to argue that. So before I used to argue it more feverishly. Now it's like, bro, I don't even care. If you want to argue about Kobe being the GOAT, he's earned that right 1,000,000%. 1,000,000% in my book. Get to some of these comments before I move right along. Jordan, Russell, Kobe, Bird, West walk in the room. They're the ones in NBA history with that aura. Doesn't LeBron is kind of goofy, right? That's LeBron's problem. Like his doofiness takes away, even with Shaq. Shaq being that kind of goofy, you kind of lose your aura. And these guys, all these guys, Jordan, Russell, Kobe, Bird, Jerry West. That's why, again, I always refer to Jerry West blaming JJ Redick, because you can see where there's a level of seriousness with them. They weren't playing any games with anybody. And it was like, okay, you better play or we're gonna have a problem. Kobe got Shaq traded out of LA. It's either him or me, man. This guy ain't serious. The older you get, the more you will understand Kobe. That's what I think it is when it comes to him. Braun, MJ, Kobe, Duncan, Kareem. Duncan played 20 years, and people don't understand that Duncan looked like Joker by the end of his career. Like when they went winning the championships with against the Heat. Why is RBI's Kobe argument still a thing? MJ's a side A, Kobe side B, end of story. Nobody in the NBA mentality, because nobody in the NBA works that hard at everything, at all things basketball. Right. I think that's part of it too, where Kevin Garnett was mad about the other day. And he's saying, bro, y'all really don't even really play basketball, which is what Flee always talks about, and everybody in my generation talk about. But in a weird way, Ant-Man saying what he's saying is basically admitting that. And this, I don't want to say it's a cry for help, but it's definitely a cry for ignorance, of being ignorant. Like, yo, these kids, they don't really know, and they're saying it. Now they're just boastful about it, because it wasn't like Ant-Man is the only one that has ever said that in NBA history. It's just that the superstar player would have never said that, because they would have been a student of the game, and they would have known, like, nah, you can't talk about Jerry West like that. And Jerry West was ill. Just watch the tape, bro. It's not just the numbers. It's not just that he was playing against, less international competition and the less talent pool. All right, you can say all that all you want to, but when you do your little fadeaway, your little jab step, Jerry West was doing that too in the 60s. So he would have busted your ass too. Jerry West was competitive. So it was just neglectful. MJ had to be perfect at all times. I think he was That's leading to my second topic, nostalgic. They don't want to hear this, but they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to. Sometimes you got to put the medicine in the candy. Here's Gilbert Arenas and his crew talking about Michael Jordan didn't play against any top 5 shooting guards in history.
All we can go off is just the metrics of their agility, speed, and then their jumping ability, height, and attributes. That's all we can go off of. How you use it is very... So as a shooting guard, like who we're talking about? You're talking about somebody like DeRozan, James Harden. You're talking about PG, Zach LaVine. Fucking Monk can go up in there. Like it's a normal thing. 40-inch verticals. That wasn't a thing back then.
But you're talking about guys who are a mix of both. I think as far as talent and skill, DeRozan, all those guys have a mix of both. They hit the midi. They can do things, but they're also uber athletic.
That's what I said. He didn't have uber like you're talking about Reggie Miller's, Joe Dumars.
Right,
like, these guys,
they're not athletic at all.
You know what I mean? If we really want to have this discussion about Jordan's competition, just go to this top 5 shooting guards in history. He didn't play against any of them.
That's gonna cause a feverish clapback. Did Jordan play against top 5 shooting guards? Some of you. Most of us have Kobe at number 2, AI top 10, top 20 somewhere, right? And he played against both of them. The problem is he didn't play them throughout his time period. And that's when I always give Kobe Bryant even more credit. I don't think Kobe Michael Jordan played against the same level of competition as Kobe Bryant. Because it's not like it's this era where we talk about they don't play basketball. He played in that era where AAU was starting to become a firestorm. He was ultra competitive. Tim Thomas was the highest recruit in high school during his time period out of Philadelphia or out of in the East Coast region. He was out of Jersey, Tim Thomas. Shout out to Tim Thomas. Kobe came out of Philly via Italy. But the 2-guard position, the wing positions were way different for Kobe Bryant. He had to guard way better offensive juggernauts than Michael Jordan ever did. And they had to guard him. Not to say he had to, Sidney Moncrief and them guys, Joe Dumars and them guys, Alvin Robertson, give them all the credit in the world, man. But Bruce Bowen, T-Mac was tough. These guys we forget about it. They had a lot of team defenders. Sacramento was good defensively. It was more Utah, San Antonio. Chicago, once they got Kirk Heinrich, I guess. But the Knicks were defensive, right? The late 90s. Kobe was too young when Jordan played him. So he wasn't top 5 Kobe. He wasn't number 2 guard of all time Kobe. Right? D Wade is in the 2000s. Kobe had to guard D Wade. Who was Michael Jordan guarding that was on D Wade's level? That's the part that you guys don't want to hear. Anybody who's a Jordan stan, I still think he's the GOAT. Just like we said with LeBron, I got him number 2. Why you guys so mad? I still think Jordan's the GOAT. But he did not play against the level of competition that Kobe played against. Add to that, the Eastern Conference was not like the Western Conference in Kobe's time. Kobe's time was every championship team was out West. The Nets made the finals, back-to-back finals. They would have been number 6, 7, 8 seed in the West. They might not have made the playoffs some year in the Western Conference back then. So Kobe Bryant is playing 3 to 4 games versus every single Western Conference team, better competition team-wise, and better competition at his position for most of his career. Damn near all of his career. And yeah, he had Shaq there. Yeah, he had championship help. Of course, Pau Gasol and everything. I got all that. But, nah, man. I don't I don't think Michael Jordan played the level of competition that Kobe did. And a part of that is what happens when you revolutionize the game, right? Now, LeBron came out 04. Now you seeing more players 6'9" that can handle the ball. Now we're seeing more guys. It's like when I see Joker play, I'm like, yo, LeBron should have been playing like Joker the entire time, his entire career, shooting past from way more spots. Now he's kind of playing in his own playground at 40 years old. Not to say it's tougher, but you see more players that are doing that. It's not abnormal anymore to see a LeBron, right? Jordan was the abnormal in the 80s, the 90s. You saw all the point guards turn into two guards. AI had to guard them too. He didn't just guard two guards, and he guarded. I think he guarded point guards better than Jordan. But I think I saw enough from Mike to say he's stronger, fundamentally sound. I think he's more talented than Kobe. Mike has a 48-inch vertical. Like, I don't care what y'all say. Michael Jordan was jumping in the air through different people and positioning the ball everywhere. Kobe couldn't really do that because Mike had longer arms, stronger, could palm the ball. That's what gets him over in any era. So I'm not saying Kobe's better, but I am saying Kobe's competition was better. Team-wise, two-guard-wise, the era-wise, that ain't this era. It's not 2024. We're talking about 2004, 2002, 2006, 2008. Let's get to these comments. Kuber. Oh, Mitch Richmond. Mitch Richmond was tough. Don't get me wrong. Mitch Richmond was. Who could we compare Mitch Richmond to? Today is tough because nobody has a post-up game. Mitch Richmond was nice. Sprewell was nice. Right? But that's the 90s and it's starting to come like Jordan. That's the Jordan influence. Mitch Richmond was late 80s, though, too. Richmond was tough, but way more, especially once he got injured. He went to Sacramento, put some weight on, and he was strong as an ox. Mitch Richmond was strong as an ox. I don't want to knock him for anything. Mitch Richmond can play in any era. Any era. And I still think he will go crazy in this era because he can travel. Not saying that, but I'm talking about the 2000s. We don't put Mitch Richmond in the same conversation as T-Mac and Vince Carter, Paul Pierce at times, the two guard, D Wade. Those guys, if you have T-Mac, Vince Carter, D Wade, Kobe in the late 80s versus Mike, it's a different conversation. And Mike is still the best. Don't get me wrong. Even though you don't have a D Wade if you don't have Michael Jordan, because D Wade took all his moves, Kobe took all his moves. Gilbert historically issuing the old players before him, so it's not shocking that what he said. I've been shit for old players since that old podcast he had with me. What happened to that girl? Jordan didn't play against himself. Jordan didn't play the 60s Celtics. Jordan didn't play the Warriors. The standards they place on Jordan are proof they look up to him. Yeah, absolutely. He's the standard. He's still the standard. And because he's the standard, he revolutionized everything. So those two things can be true, Sporting Page. He didn't play against himself. That's really what it is. That's what it boils down to. He didn't play Kobe, his mirror. That's crazy. Clyde was close. Clyde was tough. Can't forget that. Kobe wasn't better defender than Mike. Not at all. I don't think so. Nostalgic. I don't think he's offensively better or defensively better. 1,000%. Mike was stronger. I think he would have been more fundamentally sound. He was a lot more riskier than Kobe. And just his strength and his agility, just the way he jumps around, he was locked down, man. And he could play. He had a lot of rim protecting he did in the late 80s. That 88 year was crazy. 91 was tough. He couldn't stop Mike Bibby. You acting like Mike Bibby wasn't nice, Nostalgic. Mike Bibby was nice. Jordan couldn't stop Mike Bibby. Mike Bibby would have given him the business. On that Sacramento team, we've seen Jordan against point guards. Where's my guy Robert Paulson? He's about to go crazy. Penny. But Penny's a part of the new era. Remember, Penny's 93, 94. Right? Because the Knicks go on 93, 94. He's a rookie. In 94, 95, Penny goes to the championship. That's late in Jordan's career. And he gave him the business. Old Mike gave him all the business. So yeah, he played against them as young whippersnappers. Gave Ray Allen the business. AI, they're not top 5, but We saw Kobe play against those guys from 17 on his whole career. Penny's a part of that too, though. Clyde Drexler in the damn finals, right? Mitch Richmond, Clyde most likely. Yeah, Clyde is, and Clyde got to get more respect on his name. I started being disrespectful to Clyde for some time. Clyde had a left hand. Clyde was tough. He's another guy who would have destroyed this era. Clyde might be top 5. Now, you know what? Let's take that back. Clyde Drexler is top 5. If he's not, he's in the conversation. I don't care who you got. You mentioning Klay Thompson? Let's walk this back a little bit. You know me, I'll do it in real time. I'm not full of myself like that. Clyde Drexler is in the conversation for top 5 2 guards of all time. Clyde Drexler would have busted a lot of these guys' asses. He would go crazy. And he could do what Ant-Man can't do. I mean, Ant-Man he played 1 year in college, been in the league 18. 3 years, he's 22 now, about to be 23. Clyde was in there fundamentally sound. Nah, Clyde was crazy. Super athletic 2 guards. Michael Cooper, who was tough defensively. Stackhouse, Kobe, Michael Ray Richardson, Pressey. But even Michael Ray Richardson, and you know what? Another thing, Fish. Thank you for bringing him up. Did Michael Ray Richardson have the issue? Right? Think he was on that. Yeah, Yeezy. Am I throwing smut on his name? Yeah, he tested positive for coke in 86. That's the other thing we don't want to talk about, man. Our heroes back then were high and sky. They had problems, man. Remember, Jordan walked into the cocaine bus, man. The cocaine circus. That's the other thing. There's so many little things that kind of that slow the progression down, and it's so unfortunate because I always talk about, me and Dom always talk about the 60s where there was a quota for people to be on the teams, black people to have enough black teammates, black players on the team. Then the 70s, you still had the ABA. The ABA is way more black than the NBA. Like, just culturally, who the hell wants to play for the NBA if none of y'all making money like that? Then, of course, we got, Pee Wee Kirkland and these dudes in the street. Like, why would I go to the NBA? I just came through the airport with more money than all you guys combined. There's that factor. There's the fact that a lot of these guys are playing in the street and were superstars in the street for a while. So, of course, the street factor, the drug factor melts into the late 70s. There was a real big cocaine issue. That's a big factor, man. Look at what's the guy that made it to the Spurs? Sweet Pea Daniels, Lloyd Daniels. They say he was Jordan on the block. A lot of that factors into why Jordan didn't play the competition. Reggie Lewis. What's the other guy from Len Bias? Boston losing those guys lessened the competition for him as well. There's such a combination of things, and it's not Michael Jordan's fault. He's playing whoever's in front of him. But the way this game evolved, it came to a head in 96 with the best draft class of all times, with some of the best 2 guards of all time. AI, Kobe, Ray Allen. Steph should have been a 2 guard. Kerry Kittles was tough. Sprewell, man. Sprewell was tough. All NBA defender, man. Sprewell was tough, man. Do not get me wrong, but again, that's 90s. Clyde, J.R. Ryder, Mitch Richmond. What if J.R. Ryder was more disciplined, man? Petrovic. Look, another guy, man. Petrovic. Gone too soon. God bless the dead. Byron Scott. Byron Scott was tough, but Robert Pack was kind of a hybrid, right? He was a point guard, but he was kind of Dominique. Dominique was a one-handed bandit. Dominique was a one-handed bandit, dog. They talking about Mashburn. Mashburn was tough. He ripped. I always told him he ripped his abdomen. He was on the Hornets. The Hornets had a squad. I used to love watching the Hornets play. Wish he would have stayed in better. I don't know if it was better shape or what with Mashburn, injury prone. He went from Did he go from Dallas to the Heat, then to the Hornets? Yeah, because he played with Zoe. I think they traded him for Eddie Jones, if I'm not mistaken. Monster Mash was ill, though. He was dope. Monster Mash would destroy this era. I know you kids don't want to hear that, but it's the truth. Mention the Hall of Fame. Definitely a Hall of Famer. He's definitely a Hall of Famer. Jordan had claws, too. Like Kawhi. D-Wade. You think D-Wade and Mitch Richmond, I think they played two totally different games. The Flash, bro. Richmond, a young Mitch Richmond, run TMC. D-Wade's getting up there, bro. And D-Wade finished around that basket. Johnny Newman. He was good, but top 5 fish? Different eras. The game was officiated differently. Jordan had to deal with contact. What about the 2000s, bro? They were playing with contact. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James argument is very draining. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. Michael won Defensive Player of the Year. Clyde, Hill, Penny, Miller, Richmond, Gill, Maxwell, Allen Houston, Smith, Jones, Bree, Finley. Oh, Michael Finley. He played against Jordan in high school, I think it was. He was tough, but he was like a lesser version of everybody else. I'm going to call him a poor man's Kobe. Clyde was a problem. Clyde got to get more props. Any slander I provide. I'm sorry, Clyde, if I promoted any slander in your direction, my brother, but you are definitely top 5. You're in the conversation, man. Clyde made the finals before MJ Fabian in 1990. Of course. Of course. He played in the West, though. Come on now. Clyde had a different path. You give Jordan them teams. Come on, Terry Porter and them guys. Cliff Robinson. You give him a big dude. That wasn't Buck Williams. That was not Duckworth? Thinking of the wrong power forward. Facts, Lowe's, facts. They say take away Golden State Warriors and LeBron has X amount of chips. Take away Magic, MJ, Drexler may have 3 to 4 chips. Yeah, he might, because who's beating Drexler in the finals? Who's beating Portland? If you want to play ifs, Sabonis is there. It's a different level. Imagine if Sabonis is allowed to play in 1988, 89 against the Pistons, and he's going out there just he's like Andre the Giant, like, you hit me? Are you stupid, Bill? Get off me. He would have destroyed Bill Laimbeer. And Bill Laimbeer was tough. People talk a lot of mess about Bill Laimbeer, and I get it. He deserves all the slander because he's the villain and he bought into it. But Bill Laimbeer could have played in this era. I don't know what, anyway. They didn't watch the game. Didn't he have like 6 3-pointers in the finals? Outside jumper. And he was tough. If Draymond could play now, you got Bill Laimbeer in let's say Bill Laimbeer is on Cleveland, on those Cleveland teams with LeBron. They're letting them get away with murder too. Snowflakes. Clyde had the greatest dunk in NCAA history versus Louisville. Went up with one hand on the break, brought it down to his waist, brought it back up with 2. I'm going to watch that offline because I'm sick of trying to get rid of these copyrights on YouTube. Fish. White lines. Dude is high now today. Oh, that's true. Let's not pretend no testing either. Sporting Page knows. I don't know if they're on the lean as much as they are. The PEDs help. That's the other thing, fellas. Imagine these guys back in the day, instead of lining up the table, if they didn't line up the table and they just poured a little more juice in their cup. Imagine Mitch Richmond, Lloyd Daniels, Michael Ray Richardson, all these guys. What's my guy that was on the Rockets, the point guard, Lucas? Imagine Hakeem Olajuwon on his new juice. I mean, he was on a Nigerian juice anyway. He wouldn't have drank that shit. He'd have been like, organic, please. Mike said they was doing coconut. Yeah, man. Sugar Ray Richardson had the cocaine. What's up, Juju Bean? Hey. Don't forget about the CBA and the USBL. Yo, Boss Claus. There was a league in the 60s, the American. I gotta look this up, man. Somehow I found it and I lost it. Is it the USBL? That was like the American Basketball League. It was 1960s. It was like the American Basketball League or something. Not the NBL. Let me take y'all into my search. Professional Basketball League, 1960s. Oh, that's the one, North American Basketball League. Boom. Players played there as well, 4 years. The league played 4 full seasons until the league folded in 67, 68. Who played there? Let's see if we got any names. Porter Merriweather. Notable alumni: Bud Acton, Burton, Brads, Bill Bunton, Ed Burton, Bill Dinwiddie. Hold on. I got hype for no reason because I don't know none of these people, man. Where's Diamond at, man? But the point is, they did have options back then, man. They did have options aside from the NBA. That's my point. Crazy. I see Richardson all the time in Oklahoma, where Stacey King is from. Coached the CBA time based there, got married and stayed there. Oh, wow. The cocaine factor also is why MJ couldn't technically compete in the late 80s because the contenders had their ish together. So it's both ways. That's true, right? The Pistons, we didn't hear any, Robin was the wild card, but everybody else was clean. That's the hump they had to get over. That's a great point, Sporting Page. Boss Claus, can't forget CBA, USBL. Yeah, at all. Golden State spree. Tough. Do you understand? When I started my Knicks fandom, I was in the 6th grade, and there was a rumor. You've heard me tell the story before. It's my early memory. There was a rumor that John Starks could have been traded for Latrell Sprewell, and all my homeboys looking at me like, no, you can't trade Starks. I looked at them like, are you crazy? If you had Sprewell here with Patrick Ewing? Houston, we have a problem. Crazy? That team was stacked. Yep. Roy Tarpley was banned. Crazy talent. Rodman was clean with the Pistons. Didn't start what we know him as until he left their structure. Yo, Jay, I could have sworn that he was going through, unaliving himself. A lot of his darkness came during the Detroit run, and they were helping him out. He was in a dark place over there in Detroit for a while. I think that superstardom, that's the thing about fame that people don't talk about, being popular, and you got to go through all these emotions in front of everybody, and people asking you questions like, when do you have time to yourself? And obviously we see he has some traumas, and just a lot of those things motivated him to have a late start, right? He was a janitor and then started playing basketball in a gym and late blooming. Made it to the league didn't he make it to the league 23, 24 years old? He was older when he got to the league, maybe 25. But I thought he had a couple issues though, Jay. Spree went to All-Star as a rookie, I believe. Nah, because the first All-Star back then and be in a rookie game, first rookie to be in an All-Star game was Grant Hill in the 90s. I don't think Sprewell. Let's look it up, man. What am I doing? Why am I just yapping to you like that, nostalgic? I'm sorry. Sprewell stats. Does this come up better on this computer? His first All-Star game is second year in the league. So he was a menace, 92, 93. Sprewell's another guy. They don't talk about him. He had some issues in high school also and in college, and he went bananas. He was a bit of a nutcase, clearly, but he worked his way onto the team. He's a bit of a one-handed bandit. He could go left sometimes, but He didn't have a real, crazy crossover, but he was sturdy. He was sturdy, fast. But he worked his way to that, man. There was a Sprewell documentary I was watching. I might rewatch that with you guys one day here. It was dope. Sprewell was a lunatic. He was crazy. I forgot where is he from. Milwaukee. What's my guy? Cuckoo Cal. He's from Cuckoo Calendar, man. Cuckoo. Went to school in Alabama, 3 Rivers Community College. You kidding me? 3 Rivers Community College. Is that considered a JUCO? People, fish, boss. He was the 24th overall pick in the 92 draft. Can we see the draft? Oh, here we go. 92 was vicious. Hold on a second. We're going to have to revisit this. Tommy Googs. Tommy Gugliotta. I knew it just by looking at him. This guy's from New York, and he's connected. Tommy Googs. Imagine this 7-foot dude rolling up on you from Long Island. White guy. Going bananas. I had to put more respect on his name. Shout out to Valid Haitian that's on Twitter. He posts everybody's videos from back then showing you who was skilled back in the day. Tom Gugliotta would have given people the business today. The business. Tommy Googs. You kidding me? NC State. 6th overall pick. I know he went to Minnesota. He got traded twice in one season. He went from the Wizards. He got traded for Weber, right? Yeah, it had to, because look, he went from Washington to Golden State, then to Minnesota. Who are they trading for in Minnesota? Not Joe Smith. Anyway, the 1992 draft. How many more? LaFonso Ellis was tough too. I like LaFonso. He went to Denver, right? Drafted Denver, yeah. Jim Jackson. Come on now. Ohio State's finest. Jim Jackson was my guy. Triple J's. I told you earlier, he looked like my pops. You think he was a stretch 4? He was just tough. If you watch Tom Gugliotta highlights, he could pass and a fast break. He could shoot a little bit. We have to work on his jumper in this era, but he's just 7 feet, and he ain't no weak 7 feet. And he ain't look like no chump. He looked like the type you better watch what you say to him and do to him. He had some people with him in the crowd. Better leave Tommy Googs alone. His name is Googs. He sounds like he's on Goodfellas. Walt Williams, the 3-point specialist. Todd Day. I gotta watch more Todd Day highlights back because that name is rung bells. Robert Ory in that draft. Harold Miner. We know about him. Oh, God bless the dead. Malik Sealy. He was tough. Anthony Peeler was tough too. Doug Christie. Yo, Doug Christie's another guy. So if he played from 92 on, that's another guy. Doug Christie, great defender, and was super skilled. Super skilled. These kids will look at you like, nah, nobody could. Everything they talk about, what they're doing today, if Doug Christie could do that today, they will go bananas. Doug Christie was actually kind of crazy if you compare him with these skills. But he also could post you up. He could pass, bring the ball up. Nah, and he's defending. He's getting on your nerves. He might uppercut you in the in the entranceway, following you, Rick Fox. What you want to do, sucker? Yeah, you know nostalgic. Yeah, man. Doug Christie was tough. Doug Christie was tough. Don't let them tell you otherwise. These kids don't know what the hell they're talking about. So again, Ant-Man, Gilbert Arenas, you don't know what the hell you talk. How you play the basketball and don't know that? I'm just going through the names. See, and their biggest problem is that they don't have these comments. All you gotta do is go on Google real quick and just look at the name. Look at these draft right here, man. Sprewell, Doug Christie, Hubert Davis was a good shooter. Robert Ory was like poor man's Pippen for a second in Houston. Jim Jackson. Come on, man. These guys don't know what they If Jim Jackson played today, he'd be another one. Scoring. I would love it. And he's a great commentator. One of the best out there, bro. Jim Jackson games, I love calling the games. He ain't gonna be Mark Jackson and go crazy, but he's more not color commentary. He could break the game down though. So he's not adding the sprinkles to it. Brent Price. I kind of hate that name, Brent Price. Isn't that Mark's brother? Popeye Jones. God did not bless that man with any looks, though. I will say that about Popeye Jones. He's a great rebounder. Who is this, Ron? Who rounded it out? Curtis Blair, Brett Roberts, Sean Rooks. He played for the Clippers, right? He was in Dallas. Boss Claus would know. That's Mark Price's brother, though, right? I'm not wrong. Gilbert is all for clicks. He is. So we got to use his name, though. Nostalgia. You know how we do. You've been rocking with us long enough. I got some more time. Let me see. Oh, this is great. Speaking of which, we just said Gilbert Arenas and them. It doesn't take long for you to just go online, look up some things, and do some research. Just go on here and interact, which Gilbert Arenas does, by the way. But he just has an agenda. This is Michael Wilbon on, pardon the interruption, on ESPN, basically admitting they don't watch basketball.
Stop, Mike, with this quote. I didn't watch it. I can't speak on it. That's where he should have stopped. Now go watch, because you are taking generations of NBA stars and putting them in a trash heap. So stop it.
But let me go further, and let me be old man, get off my lawn now. And I know you will join me in this. Nobody watches anymore, okay? The people at networks don't watch because they're quick to say, well, it happened before I was born. All they have is video in their damn hands 24/7, and apparently they can't fix their eyes on it to watch what people did. They watch clips. They don't watch games. They don't know jack. It's not just the players. It's the culture we live in now. That's why we are old and say, get off my lawn. That's what we're stuck with, and Ant-Man reflects it. Oh, he does.
So that was Michael Wilbon admitting that networks, the culture, everybody all around does not watch basketball. They don't watch basketball games. And meanwhile, you have a phone in your hand. You can watch anything you want and distract yourself with a whole bunch of jiggly wiggly out there. But I digress. The point is, Michael Wilbon is a Michael Jordan lover. He's part of the whole movement of the 90s reporters that were deriding Michael Jordan, where it was nauseating. All of them, Bob Costas, we're never going to see anything like this again. We've seen close enough to it, and we've seen many reasons why it wouldn't work. LeBron, for all you guys want to say, he could have been better than Mike, but he wasn't. He didn't put the mid-range work in. He didn't work on his skills, but I digress. The point is, Michael Wilbon was quite biased in his own world, but he's right about this. But I have to include his own peers. He's trying to make it seem like he's trying to save his people, but his guy he sits next to on a weekly basis, who does the same exact thing he does, Steven, ain't that guy. He does the same exact thing that the young guys do. He led this whole wave of don't watch games and just talk out of your side of your. He did that. He works with him and would never call him out. And he should. I don't care how many personal conversations you've had on the side, on a text message, and hey, Steven, I think you were. No. Does Steven watch the games? He don't watch the Knicks. Watch your mouth, Michael Wilbon. What are you talking about? Call your own people out. Stephen A. Smith is 60 years old, just like you. That's my issue. We call out Gilbert Arenas. We call out all the young whippersnappers when they don't watch the games. Okay, neither do y'all. Neither do y'all. Not going to say Michael Wilbon. Michael Wilbon will break the game down. His opinion, I don't think he tends to veer off of what he doesn't know. And he's been doing this. See, First Take is really, they really a PTI on steroids. Pardon the interruption, on steroids. Don't ever confuse Skip Bayless with Tony Kornheiser. You ain't never going to do that. Because Tony Kornheiser will watch the games. He stays up for a certain amount of time. He's an old man. but these guys work for the Washington Post, so they had to really report, and they backed up what they said. That show is based off of them two, Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon, arguing on the Washington Post news floor, and they brought that to TV. But they knew what they were talking about. They were really tussling like me and you would, people on this comments right now, how we would do it. That's where Tony Kornheiser and Michael Wilbon come from. But I don't like Michael Wilbon putting up that shield, the ESPN shield, to defend his man Stephen A. Smith, when he's a major part of the problem with Skip Bayless and these guys that brought this wave of know-nothings that just blurt out rap punchlines and then act like they know about basketball. And it's not like Stephen A. don't know about a lot of these guys from back in the day. He'll blurt out a whole bunch of names, but that's what he does. He's like the game. Remember the rap of the game? He just mentions names. Why you mention people's names for? Every rap, one trick pony, right? And Stephen A. Smith has been on the run. I gotta watch that where he's defending his co-worker Paul Feinbaum against everybody against the world now. But there's a cross with Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless because they've been around for so long and they could reference so much of history. But what the imprint that they made and was being echoed by the kids and everybody else and was being repeated is the short-term stuff, you know. And then this latest version of Stephen A. Smith, you on ESPN all day long. You ain't watching the Knicks. You don't watch them. You didn't know who Isaiah Hartenstein was, bro. You just don't. And we don't believe you. Michael Wilbon he cannot. I'm glad he said that. But you have to give everybody the blame. It's also people in our generation. It's not that easy to sit down and watch a game either. We don't have your jobs, sports guys. Although there is a link in the description for my Cash App for you to help me become one of those guys. AllBall $ ABTV3 is in the chat. In the description. Also, very important, if you click that link in the description for StreamYard, you could, if you want to start a podcast, go ahead, click that link and do that, or just click it to show them that, we're promoting the StreamYard itself, and they'll keep showing us love. But I digress. We also can't get stuck paralyzed, blaming each other, because there's always going to be something to blame. Someone's always going to be ignorant. Everyone just can't be these eloquent, teacup grabbing individuals with basketball. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. We still arguing about who the GOATs are. Nostalgic niggas sick of that conversation. But who are our favorite basketball announcers? For me, is Ryan Russillo. What's my Sam? I don't know. Sam Vanisi. I think it's Sam Vanisi. I want to get his name right. Not Sam Vicario. He breaks the game down beautifully. He interviewed Tyler Kolek and everything, man. I want to get his name right because they're breaking down all the rookies. There's the guy, Bryce, that used to play for D1 college. They broke down all the rookies. And they have a under 24 run that they're going right now. Here we go. Here's my guy. Oh, I'll let you guys see. Hold on. Put your glasses back on.
Number 4 is Chet Holmgren. The case
is them talking about Chet Holmgren. But this guy right here breaks the game down. Sam and Bryce. Sam Vicini. You ain't got Bryce information on here? What's wrong with you, man? Bryce used to play college ball at a D1 school. I forgot what school. He also has a Detroit Pistons podcast, but they break down all the players under 24 years old and why. They got Chet Holmgren at number 4. Amazing work. Amazing work. They jumped up from 11,000 subscribers. They might have had like 6,000 last week because they're putting in amazing work. Real basketball talk. Real basketball talk. They break down why they like Zion. I think they had Zion at number 2, what he's missing. The Jalen Williams breakdown was amazing. 2-way player. What he can't do, there's nothing he can't do on the floor. Gonna play that third role. The one thing that they didn't say about Jalen Williams that I heard, I think Bill Simmons said, was that he didn't play at a big school, Jalen Williams. So he's not going to really be a superstar. You don't expect him to be one. And when the playoffs come around, it's a big atmosphere. You know, Bill Simmons is another great guy. I don't listen to him as much because he's like all over the place. I try to listen to him when he talks about basketball, but Ryan Russillo is my favorite guy to break down the games. My personal favorite. And this guy has moved up my ranking. Sam Vecini, amazing. And the other guy, I always forget his name from The Ringer, who's always ends up being wrong. I think what's his name? I hate his voice, but he's really good. He's really good. These guys are amazing breaking down the game. So we do have guys that watch basketball. This guy, Sam Vecini, will break down international players, college players, all over the place. He might be the best in the business, Sam Vecini. Everybody went to him when it came to the draft class. He's no joke. He might be the best. Sam Vecini might be the best out there right now, and nobody's doing what he does. So he's not a part of this category that Michael Wilbon talked about. And Stephen A. Smith can't shine his shoes. Maybe Sam Vecini might shine his shoes because, you know, Stephen A. got like $100 million on the way. Let's get to these comments and I got to run. So Paul Rivera, what I'll leave with that. Good was for click. Too many games on. Paul Rivera dissed the 90s and got the host job on The Shop. JJ dissed the 90s and got a show with LeBron. Yeah, exactly. That's why I told Flee. JJ already got an agenda, bro. Remember, he said the Lakers job is the worst job in basketball. And he ends up going with them. Why? Because you know, it's also the most high profile. He knew what he was doing. And I don't like that about them either. They lead the way for Ant-Man to think what he thinks. And because he echoed what they say. He's a worse version of what they say. JJ Redick was just saying not, and he said he was watching the games. Like, how you watching the games? You watch Larry Bird and don't realize that those skills translate. You telling me you would rather be JJ Redick than Larry Bird? And I'm talking about Larry Bird in 1988, and he comes on a time machine and plays in 2007. You still want to be JJ Redick? Knock it off. Knock it off. Think how every talent the NBA was if the CBA, the OKC Cavalry had in the 90s, Steve Burt, Steve Thompson, Ike Austin, Shelton Jones, Kelsey Weems, Ben Wallace, Henry Bibby was the head coach. Oh, wow. That's dope. Bob was obsessed with MJ. Bro, when Barry Bonds blamed Bob Costas, I loved it. Because Bob Costas was great. Do not get me wrong. Great announcer. The way he was pissing Vince McMahon off, I loved it. But Barry Bonds called him a midget. He's like, he's a midget. He could never play. Just a little midget know about baseball. Amazing. Too much D-riding with MJ though. That's all I gotta say. Saw a Dr. J MJ interview where they spoke on basketball history from 1996. Where are the elder statesmen of today? They D-riding LeBron. That's the part about LeBron I don't like. We all agree about that. That became an agenda on Twitter and social media. They got to get rid of that. Does LeBron understand what he would do if he just sat down with Jordan? Or who would you want LeBron to sit with right now and it would change everything? Not JJ Redick, someone on your side. No one's not going to challenge you. Who would change everything? Who's on the other side of that? Like if he sat with Bill Simmons or Bob Ryan. If he sat with Bob Ryan, I would have to blur his teeth out from the screen, but it will make a great conversation. And you know, part of LeBron's problem is that you talk to somebody like, yeah, I know. Oh, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I know. That's LeBron. You didn't know that, LeBron. This photographic memory, shut up. You've been studying the same place from the 4th grade, and they haven't changed because basketball doesn't even require it anymore. Get over yourself. Sit down with Bob Ryan and have a dope conversation, man. Not JJ Redick. He ain't gonna teach you nothing. He doesn't. Not 60. When Stephen A. last season said some dude named Hartenstein, it's like, what else can you say? We know they don't watch games. Exactly. They telling themselves. Name dropper. Shaq got called out by KP, and Shaq tried to pull it off. Then he admitted it that he don't watch the games. All right, Shaq's another one. You in 3,000 commercials. You a billionaire. Come on, man. Don't get mad at us when we pull your card. Shaq, the fake cop, by the way. The quack himself. Y'all thought Gen Z is bad. Generation Aloha turned 18 in 5 more years. Wait until they have a voice and have bad takes. But CLB, imagine if they don't. Imagine if they're watching all this and there's a transformation. In my opinion, I really believe Wemby and these guys, Joker, the league's going to get bigger again. And they're going to have to bring in point guards. Because Wemby cannot bring the ball up. He can't do all that for 10 years. He'll learn or he'll flame out. And once you need the big man back in there, you're going to need point guards again because they need a job. You can't just be the 2-guard dancing around. The coach is going to start looking at you like, bro, give the ball to Wemby. I don't know what you're thinking. We don't get paid to watch you just chuck. Y'all made me have to get back in my bag and watch high school, college, overseas, and NBA at a high level to give y'all accurate info. Yo, Fish, that guy is no joke. Sam Vecini is the best in the business right now. And shout out to his partner, Bryce. They're amazing. By the way, Fish, I got to DM you. They got the full video, the ACC championship, Rasheed Wallace versus Tim Duncan. North Carolina versus my God, go to. Hold on, don't tell me. I'm not a big college ball guy. Tim Duncan went to Wake Forest because that's in Carolina also. Wake Forest versus Carolina. You can see the difference, bro. The first play of the game, Jerry Stackhouse smacks Tim Duncan at the rim. Not his face, but he smacks the ball. Jerry Stackhouse was a beast. People forget Stephen A. Smith got fired. Yeah. Generation Alpha, I meant. They turned 18. That's their name, Generation Alpha? I can imagine the bad taste they have. Wemby, the GOAT. Fabian studies the greats. I don't even know everybody. So sometimes you bring up a name, like some names that Fish mentions, I'll just Google them. Like, I don't know everything. That's the other thing to me. Is like, stop acting like you know it all. If I don't know who is that. Then I'll Google it on YouTube. You know who that is? And then people will act, because people make you feel a certain way for not knowing. It's like, I didn't know, bro. Who is he? Stop wasting my time with trying to prove that you knew before me. Ooh, now tell all of us what's going on. Not that serious. Shout out to Michael Wilbon, though, for calling out his peers. Calling out his peers, but not all of them. You need to call out that AARP crew over there in ESPN that don't watch the games either. As long as it's not that school, Blue Devils, I'll watch the game. Yo, it was dope. It was dope to just see, like, Rasheed Wallace not talking to the refs. It was fire. Yeah, Generation Alpha is anybody born after 2010, and Generation Beta will be born next year, 2025. Their name is Beta, Alpha, and Beta. Who wants to be Generation Beta? They're going to disrespect you, man. I got to run. Love y'all. From the bottom of my heart. I can't believe you guys actually stuck with me, man. Love you. Tomorrow night, 7:30 p.m. Knicks rehab. Everything Knicks. Sorry, Fish. We need your Knicks hater flag waving full-fledged. Tomorrow is Knicks rehab. We need all you Knicks guys in the building. Show some love. Flee, AllBall in the building. AllBall TV. They scared, but I'm not. They don't like comentario.
Y suscribe.